Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of Mindful Actions. I'm Beth Backus, your guide on this journey towards self-awareness and intentional living. Today, I want to dive into a topic that I think will resonate with many of you. It's the delicate balance between planning and spontaneity, and specifically letting go, and how sometimes you have to give up control in order to gain more control over yourself. It sounds counterintuitive, but stick with me through this because there are some great insights that we are going to chat about, and I'm excited for this discussion. I got my beach earrings and my beach necklace on, and I'm ready to go. So let me start off by sharing a personal story. I used to be a very, very detail-oriented vacation planner. I planned everything down to the minute. I'd type out itineraries, make reservations, look at maps and see how everything went together and where we were traveling, how long it would take us on these vacations, and know where everything was. And every little detail was taken care of. If you were going on vacation with me, you could relax because I had it handled. And honestly, I took a lot of pride in my ability to do this. And then I had kids. I feel like a lot of life stories change tone when you say, and then I had kids. But it's true, but not in a bad way. After having kids, I tried to maintain that same level of meticulous planning for a few of my small trips. And soon I realized something really important. The vacation planner part of me was not serving me anymore. As a parent, I didn't have the mental capacity to handle all of that planning ahead of time, and I didn't want to force fun on my kids during vacations. I didn't want to feel stressed trying to stick to a schedule, and I didn't want my family to feel that way either. So I literally let it go. I just don't do that anymore, and it's been a huge weight lifted off of my shoulders. I talk about this in many of my episodes about letting things go, and that's just a really, really important part of being mindful. And there are different ways that you can do this. And with the vacation planning, I do the obvious necessary things ahead of time still, like booking the hotel and the flights that you have to do way in advance. But otherwise, I keep it low key. I have a list of things to do in the area, usually just jotted down on the notes app on my phone. My husband looks up some suggestions or friends give us tips, and we play it by ear. And this freedom leaves us room to pick what we want to do depending on our moods or the weather. And I actually feel more in control on vacation now because we're just having fun and we're letting things flow and doing what we want to do. It's a breath of much needed fresh air. We're not fighting against a schedule of prepaid activities anymore. We do enough of that at home. This past year for spring break, we were visiting family on the beach in Florida, but we decided to fly into Orlando first and just do one day at Disney and see a few of our friends that lived there before we were heading to the beach. And it just so happened, don't ask me how this even happened, but it just so happened that when we were there, it was not a crowded day at Disney. I don't know. So again, don't ask how that happened. Maybe it was just the vacation planning gods that were testing me to see how I reacted. But we got in all of the rides that the kids wanted to do. We got it all in the morning. And they got their ice cream and they got their cool Disney snacks. And it was about 2:00. And my kids were like, okay, we're ready to leave now. We want to go to the beach. And after reassuring them and asking multiple times that this is what they wanted, they didn't just need to go sit in the air conditioning for a while. I was like, all right, let's go to the beach. Why should I force my family to stay there just because it's the activity that we had planned to do that day? That's my mindset shift showing up right there. And before that vacation, my husband asked me, why don't you plan vacations like you used to anymore? You used to love planning vacations. And he didn't ask me in an accusatory manner, like, why aren't you doing this anymore? He was just as curious as I was about this mindset shift and figuring out where things had just changed in how I do things. And I don't know. Life just ebbs and flows. That's my mentality now. It turned into something that stressed me out more than it made me happy. So I decided to be done with it. Old me would be shocked, totally shocked that I don't plan vacations with spreadsheets and itineraries anymore. And I love that for me. I love that for the new me. I love doing things now that would shock the old version of me. That is proof of growth and transformation. So here's the moral of the story. Let go to gain more control. Sometimes when you try to control things too much and they don't go as planned, it just feels like everything is spiraling out of control. I would have had kids throwing tantrums at Disney because they didn't want to be there anymore. and I would have felt miserable and like that whole day was a failure. But instead, because I gave up the control, I had happy kids that took a nap in the car and were eating burgers on the beach with their toes in the sand, smiling ear to ear that evening. If you let some things go, you can gain more control over yourself because you're not as stressed. If you let some things go, you can gain more control over yourself. But there has to be a level of self-awareness here. You can't let things go until you're aware that you're trying to control the situation too much. Until you're aware of how those things are affecting you. This principle can be applied to many different areas of life. Think about the things that you're holding on to. Maybe it's a project at work that you're trying to micromanage, or perhaps it's a relationship where you're trying a little too hard to control the outcome. You're thinking, if I do this, they will respond in this way. But that's not always the way that it works out. By letting go of the need to control every little detail, you can find more peace and flexibility within yourself. One of the most important aspects of intentional living is recognizing when something no longer aligns with who you are or who you want to be. It may have aligned with you in the past, but at some point in your life, there was a shift. And that's why it's so hard to let things go. You know that it brought you joy in the past and you have memories of that. Or you know that was one of your strengths and that you were proud of it and you want to hold on to that. You feel ownership over it because it feels like it's something that belongs to you. And you don't want to let go of that feeling of control. I get it. I know. But maybe somebody else has a good idea to implement on that project at work that you're trying to micromanage. Hand over the reins. Don't hold on to it just for a sense of pride if you don't want to do it anymore. Or maybe someone else will enjoy planning parts of the family vacation if they know it's okay for them to step up and do so. Let things go, but also communicate that you're letting go of it. Don't just assume that people are going to know what you're doing. Me transitioning out of vacation planning mode also shifted some of the roles my friends and family played in the way that we travel together, because we take a lot of trips with friends and family. And people are still sometimes waiting around for me to take control of the vacation. And it's a little shocking for them to hear me say, I don't care, you guys do what you want to do. And they're like, wait, are you sure? What's going on? So I have to consciously be communicative in assuring them that that's not who I am anymore. I want them to have fun. I want them to pick what they want to do. And if it's raining one day, we'll go do something else different. It's not about control anymore. It's about being self-aware enough to understand that it's okay to change and adapt. So the next time that you're feeling overwhelmed by the need to control everything, take a step back, breathe, and ask yourself, what can I let go of in this situation to gain more control over my peace of mind? What can I let go of in this situation to gain more control over my peace of mind? That's such an important question to ask ourselves. You might be surprised at how much better you feel when you release that pressure. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me on Mindful Actions. I hope my story and insights have inspired you to find that balance between planning and spontaneity and just letting things go. Remember that maybe letting go is actually the best mindful action you can take in this moment. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment if this topic resonated with you and you're working on finding things to let go of in your own life. And like and subscribe as always so that you're notified when the meditation is posted for you on Tuesday. Sending you out, as always, with peace, love, and Om.